Hello and welcome back to another episode, and this is the actual first thing that got me back into reselling, about that 2014 mark that I have said previously. So long story short, I bought this from Kmart. It is the Lego Monster Fighters Haunted House. If you've been watching this video for a very long, or watching this channel for a very long time, you know I'm a bit of a Halloween nut, as you could probably see by the Halloween decorations, probably just outside of the scope of the camera at the moment. Long story short, so this Lego set came out in 2013. Kmart Australia released it probably around about the same period, about 2013, 2014. We're going back, 11 years ago, so my memory's a bit sketchy. But I was looking at my parents' house, sitting beside the pool when they used to have a pool in their backyard, flicking through the Kmart catalogue and seeing this Lego set advertised for $249. I started shaking. I said to my wife, I really want to buy this Lego set. I hate Lego, and I think you probably know that by now as well. And she said, no, it's $250. So after much whinging and complaining and begging, she relinquished and said, hey, look, you can lay-buy it. So she didn't say that, but pretty much that's what I did, right? So I lay-buyed it. For a bit of context, this was the Kmart that I actually worked for before I joined the military. So I did know a lot of the people there. A lot of the same people were still there 10 years later after I left. So I was quite friendly with them. And that will come into play into the story a little bit later. So what I did is I actually took this exact Lego set to the lay-by section. As you can probably see, it's pretty beat up. This label here is basically say it's been marked down because of the box damage, right? And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But when I walked this exact set down to the to the lay-by counter, which is kind of, I think in America you call it layaway, I'm not too sure. Probably not many places do it anymore. Took it down, excited that I was going to put it on lay-by. I might have been getting it for Christmas or my birthday, I'm not too sure. But anyway, so I walked down the lay-by section. So can I lay-by this? And did. I think I put it on an 8-week term, primarily because it was probably a Christmas present or my birthday present, so I didn't want to necessarily have it sitting at home. So like I said, that it wasn't through the lack of funds. So it was just one of those space things and say, hey, well, why pay for it all up front now, where we're not probably going to use it for 2 or 3 months anyway, so we might as well just put it on lay-by and push it out from that way. Long story short, so when I went to, 8 weeks later, go get my Lego set off lay-by, they handed me this box without the yellow label. However, it was all damaged. It was like, you probably can't see it in the video, but there's a lot of sticky tape that I've actually probably sticky taped back the box there. It was pretty damaged. Like Lego sets, especially for collectors, and I will touch on it a little bit later if I can spit it out. They want pristine box conditions. For a set like this, it's 11 years old. It's probably retired about 2015. They are quite happy in this condition, as long as it's complete, and they'll go from that. So they gave it to me, this destroyed box. Wasn't particularly happy because I'm a collector. I've always been a collector. When I was a kid, it's probably an underlying issue. It's of the other capacity. My mum used to say that I was a weird kid in the sense I would keep my toys in packets and, factuate over the little images or the promo images on the back of like Ghostbuster toys and all the advertising of the different characters. I was more infatuated with that than actually playing with the toy. So when they gave me this box, I'm like, this is bullshit. I went down to the Kmart service center. I said to the manager that I knew when she was there, when I was there, I said, Liz, can I get my money back for this? Like, because I paid $250 for this Lego set. I want a pristine box. And she says, oh, yeah, no worries, Josh. So gave me my money back, walked back down to the toy section, literally swapped it 1 for 1. Came out happy as a clam. So what I will do, this is one point that I can't remember. I went back probably 4 or 5 months later, right? So I think that was probably, just say it was 2013, I bought this Lego set. I'll probably tell you. No, it was actually 2014, there we go. So this Lego set, I bought it in 2014, so I probably just started university because it's got the date on the box. They went back and started reading about around reselling on eBay, primarily Lego sets, right? So we did have an internal folder or discussion panel kind of thing where someone was saying, hey, look, I'm investing in Lego. I thought, this is really interesting. So I started digging around, like I said previously, I didn't know the YouTube, or maybe YouTube didn't exist back then in the reselling space. I didn't know that existed. I didn't know it was reselling. I just thought it was a case of, hey, buy Lego set A and sell it for price B. And I have said previously, what I've done, where I was going to university, around the corner was Toys R Us. So I would go at lunch, grab a whole bunch of Lego sets, especially if promotions were running. So, Chinese New Year or Bricktober. So if you spent $50 or $100, whatever it was, they'd give you a little promo set. So currently, well, it's finished now, but there was one that if you spent $88, you got a Year of the Snake promo Lego set. So I've stocked up on a couple of those this year. But I would go to Toys R Us at lunchtime, grab a whole bunch of Lego sets, go home at night and take the worst photos you've probably seen on on anything, like literally laying on my bed, no photo room, no nothing, but the pristine boxes. Then I would hand write them when they're sold and they would go off. But back in those days, Lego, I would go to Toys R Us, pay $20 for a Lego set, which is retail, go home, list it for probably $35 plus post, and it would sell like that. So by the time I got up the next morning, I had 2 or 3 orders to send. And look, that's pretty much the start of my eBay business from this way. So going back, so at this stage, I was living in Canberra by myself because I was in the military, call it unaccompanied. So in the sense that, you stay there or you go to a new base where your family stays behind and they'll eventually catch up if that's the plan. So my wife just had our 3rd child at that stage. We had built a house. She was living there. I was just driving back on a Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon. I didn't have any classes on Friday for a couple of semesters. Come back and go from that way, rinse and repeat. She came down the following year. But going back to my story with the Lego is that went back, my father-in-law was down. I was telling him about, obviously the Lego sets and all these different things and how exciting it was and how I was building this, the monster house. It must have been for Christmas because this one was sitting there for a while. And he goes, oh yeah, I used to sell golf club on eBay. Like I would import them from America because it'd be quite cheap to import. Then I would put them on eBay and flip them out from that way. I was like, geez, he's got it switched on. Because like I said, keep in mind that my eBay selling prior to this was primarily limited to arcade boards. So I would buy arcade games, just for example, bring them in from Germany, England, Denmark, all these different places for just say $200 delivered, then put them back on eBay for $400 with a picture of them working and command a decent price from that way. So my reselling prior to the Lego was quite limited, just primarily for me to pay for my hobby, which is arcade boards. But going back to the Lego, so I told my father-in-law and he's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So what I did is I could probably go buy one of these Monster House sets because that actually dropped down to $120 by this stage. So they were $250 when I bought mine, most likely before Christmas with the dates. And lo and behold, one of the last sets I actually picked up was the one I originally put on label, which is this set, right? So yes, it's not the original set that I sold on eBay. However, it's the thing that I kept in the long term. So what I'd do is I'd pick up these Lego sets for $120, go home, list them $250 plus postage, and they would sell. So back at that stage, I used to get paid directly through PayPal. What I would do is I don't know if I would advance myself the cash, or there was a system that you could probably pay $1 or $2 and have an immediate payout. I can't remember, but I would drive back to Kmart and pick up another 2 boxes. There was, for some reason where I grew up, and where I was living at the time, Kmart had almost an infinite supply of these Lego sets. So I would drive back, pick up another 2, come home and sell them. And I didn't really understand at the stage. I was quite new back to eBay. I only sporadically used it a couple of years before that. I didn't realize you could probably just change the number on the way home. So I'd go home on my computer, tap 2, where it went from 0, then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So over the course of 3 or 4 days, I cleared Kmart out of probably 40 of these Lego sets. Then I moved on to the Vampire's Castle, which is another one of these ones, but a little bit cheaper. So I was picking those up for just marginally cheaper, about $100 or $90 a box. Then selling those probably for $175, $200. I can't remember what it was exactly, but that's how much that's how I got into Lego, because I had a few people reach out to me and ask me what I did with that, reselling and how I got started and all those different things. But like I was saying, this was the original Lego set that I picked up off the box after my wife begrudgingly told me that I can get it. And I probably, like I said before, is that I lay by it primarily probably because if I had picked it up there and then, I would have built it. But Christmas present. So from there, I started doing Lego quite heavily, and I have seen in numerous videos before. I was in a Lego investing group, more of a forum. There was no paid memberships. It was just primarily everyone doing it from an intrinsic point of view, which means that they legitimately wanted to help each other out. So there was big players in America, there was players in the UK, and there was players in Australia. I was probably, and I have said before, I was probably the top 5 of Lego before eBay started letting on other, like, bigger stores like Big W or the Gamesman and all these different things. I was probably in the top 2, I would say 2 or 3 for Lego on eBay Australia at that time. So I was helping people out. Used to see people come, go all the time, all these different things from that way. We would get a retired list. So someone would hack the back end of the Lego website, tell us when a set is due to retire by Lego's data, and also how much how much of that set Lego had in the warehouse at the time. So if you spent over $150, you used to get free postage, and you could get a promo item. So what you would do is you basically just tinker with the orders, so that you'd put in an order for $151, for example, get your freebie, get your free shipping, and you could, as long as the way the website used to work, and I haven't been on there many years, is that as soon as it went from processing to in warehouse, you could put another order and get a freebie. But if you did it when it was in processing, it would drop the freebie off because it was supposed to be 1 per house. So all these little intricacies that I remember like 10 years later, and I absolutely loved these guys in this forum, that we legitimately helped each other out. We thought they were fantastic, made some phenomenal friends in this space. But like I say, it was quite transitory. That you'd help these people out, then they would disappear and you'd never see them again, which is quite unfortunate. But like I was saying, with the retired list, we get the retired list, we would stock up on all the sets we're retiring, like kind of things like this. And the way that Lego used to work, I'm not too sure if it does now because I don't really primarily focus on it, but I will give you some tips a little bit later. If you want to know, please hit that like and subscribe. It's not going to cost you anything, and it gives me an extra probably 1 cent if that, when you do like it. So long story short, we would stock up on the Lego sets that we forecasted was going to go up. So when a Lego set retires, or back in those days, it's probably the same now, it has an initial spike. So for example, the Monster Fighter house went from $250, and I really wish I had kept probably 10 sets when I was doing the cycle. However, I really needed the cash just to build the business. And in hindsight, I probably would have done myself more damage by putting 10 sets away than just constantly cycling through the cash back in those days. But yeah, so going back to the retirement cycle, is that if it retired for $250, in that probably 2 or 3 months after the retirement, because people are basically scrambling to get a hold of this Lego set because they've left it too late, they want to invest it themselves, they want to build it themselves. Halloween comes around, so I think this particular set retired in September 2014. Quote me on that. This is going primarily, flashbacks. If I had kept some, because it just retired before Halloween, it would have gone bonkers. And I think it went up to about $600 or $700 Australian in that 3 months post-retirement. So Lego sets used to do that. So that's what the importance of retirement sets. If you look on eBay, you might see Lego set X number, then dash, it might say retired or something along lines of that. So that's primarily the reason behind that. So if you do want my Lego title structure, the way that I do it is I call it, for example, this theme is called Lego Monster Fighters. So I would do it Lego Monster Fighters brackets, the set number, which is 10252, 10228, end of brackets, little dash, and say haunted house, which is what this one is. Then dash, new sealed, retired, whatever keywords you want to use from that sense. I've seen people use the piece count, I've seen people use ghosts, Halloween. I used to use Halloween, I used to use seasonal things like Christmas present, Xmas, Santa. All these keywords probably aren't too relevant now, but that's what they were at the back end of the day. However, like I was saying a little bit earlier, collectors of Lego are insane. And I think Tori said this in a couple of videos before as well. The Geelong Flipper, if you haven't already checked it out, check it out. The box condition is paramount. And, imagine sending one of these sets, which is probably £10, maybe a little bit more than £10 across internationally. It's well and good for the people in America. Rachel did tell me it doesn't apply to the UK. But like you're saying, once it gets to the GSP or the warehouse, it gets shot off and it's no longer your problem. Yeah, the UK guys and us, we do have to wait for it to get to the to the end state to make sure everyone's happy and everyone's good to go from that way. So this would involve a lot of bubble wrap, then basically brown paper, hand the address back in those days, and go from that way. And I used to go to the post office and drop it on the table and pay the market rate. I wasn't even aware of that. My post business existed. So this is the dark days of reselling. So, like I was saying, is that Lego people are insane for box condition. So if you are selling Lego sets, regardless how big they are, take lots of photos. And I'm talking about if you see the slightest crease, if you see a slightest white chipping on the edge of the artwork on the top of the boxes. I've got racks here, as you can probably see, that they're metal racks. I used to use these for my Lego, right? So what you see here with board games and Skylanders over that way, it's chock-a-block with Lego. And these racks are probably 10 years old because I bought them with the Lego money that I did. But like I say, any chips or anything, these are notorious for chipping the Lego sets. I used to bubble wrap the expensive ones just to keep that friction off, all those different things. But if they're a very, very old retired set in that box condition, it does play a little bit of the part in the price. However, it's not going to hurt that set that much. So I got out of Lego because Lego is too cutthroat now. It's not easy, and you'll find that Lego is releasing the same sets over and over again. So what I'm going to do now is actually going to give you probably, if you want to do a reselling adjacent kind of thing. I know I primarily talk about reselling on eBay and going from that way. However, what I would do if you are looking at selling Lego, if you are looking about rolling cash into something else and giving it a bit of a trial, I wouldn't recommend this for people that are brand new to reselling. If you obviously went to reselling, don't do an arm sweep at the Lego shop and go from that way. But what I'll do is if you've got a reselling business, an eBay business, or something along the lines of that you can say, hey, look, I'm happy to give $1,000 out of my business to pursue another thing. This thing I might give you right now might be quite a little money spinner, and it's only really applicable for little times of the year, right? So, I'll drop my thing, my prop. So this is what, and you probably see me refer to these things as before. These are Lego poly bags, right? So they're just like little Lego themes. Generally, you'll see them in like Sonic the Hedgehog, Minecraft. This one's a Minions one. You'll see them in Disney Princess. You'll see Friends. You'll see Ninjago. You'll see all the different themes that Lego do. Lego Batman, Lego DC, Lego Spider-Man, all the different ones. So what I would recommend if you are looking into Lego, do not sell these on eBay. I sell these on eBay, and they used to fly at the shelf. Like literally, I would go through 20, 30, 40, 50 bags a day. This is primarily what my mum takes care of up in Newcastle, right? So she runs my Lego business. She looks at the poly bags. She keeps asking when I'm ordering more poly bags in. Probably very, very slowing down, if not eradicating poly bags from my business, unless I'm going to do this thing I'm telling you about right now. So if you had to watch the podcast around this time last year, and the reason why I'm talking about this today is our friend that started this just came around to talk about some stuff. So last year in the podcast, I talked about she bought a button maker. So one of those things you bought from AliExpress or whatever she bought it from, and you put a little thing down and you crunch it and it makes a button. You can put buttons on all these different things. So she told me that she was going to do the school fete, which is the kids' school. They had a school fete or a school fair. One of those, you can work out what I'm talking about, right? So she was going to set up a stall. It was $50 Australian to do a stall there from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not too sure. And she was going to run buttons. And I thought this is the most insane, stupidest idea I've ever had. But she gave me she gave me my Sega Master System, her Mega Drive and all these different things. So, hey, I feel like I'm obligated to help. So I went and helped to set up, just expecting her to be literally sitting there twiddling her thumbs all day thinking, holy crap, I made the biggest mistake. I made the worst assessment I've ever made in my life. She had a lineup of 200 kids lined up, and she was selling her buttons for $2 a piece. And then, kids were punching through, and she made so much money. I think she said she made about $80 or $90 for this punching machine, $10 or $15 in just off-cut stickers, in the sense that, copyright infringed AliExpress stickers. So she had those. Kids were going bananas for $2 a pop. In hindsight, what I should have done is actually hired a stall next to her, and this is what I'm going to do this year. I am going to import, and keep that word import. I'm not going to tell you how I do it, but you can learn, underline the word, because it'll give you an hint of how I'm doing it. I am going to bring a metric ton of these poly bags over. So my landing cost for those poly bags are anywhere between $3.50 to $5 Australian a piece for those poly bags, depending on the theme, depending on the popularity, all these different things. So what my plan is, and what I would strongly suggest if you are looking for something reselling adjacent, and like I was saying, this is quite a quick money flip. However, I will need to order those order those poly bags now, because they do take about 4 to 6 weeks to come in. I need to find out when the school fate is and work my way back from there and order the poly bags, get them in, all these different things. So hypothetically, $4 on average, different themes. I wouldn't just particularly buy the Minions, different themes across the board. I will set a stall up next to her, put a little stand up, and sell those poly bags $10 a piece. And I can guarantee you I'll probably sell out. To buy them brand new from the Lego store is about $8 or $9, so you're not charging an overly obscene markup. If you don't know how to import them, you could probably just go to the Lego store, buy them for $6, $7 a piece, depending on what it is, and make $2 or $3. You're not going to make phenomenal amounts of money, but that's something you can do from that way. If you import them, you're obviously going to make a lot more money. I do have a Square Reader, which is one of those little tap and go things that you can use that as well. I would strongly suggest, if you are doing school fates, if you're doing fairs, if you're doing something along the lines of that, markets, all these different things, use one of those, because you're not limiting your clientele. If you got, I only accept cash. I only accept cash. Okay, cool, no worries, I'll go to the ATM and come back. A lot of the places, including this school, or markets, for example, don't have ATMs there. So you're really, really, really hurting your business from that way. So that's what I want to talk about today. As you can probably see behind me, these are all the Dark Souls sets quite quickly that I picked up the other day, and I will show you something that I picked up from eBay Games in a second. This is what I mentioned, I think I put it on the community post the other day. So this is a expansion set for Demon Souls, Dark Souls. Demon Souls is my favourite From Software game. So long story short, picked up all these Dark Souls board games and a whole bunch inside. I think it was about, whatever you can count by the photo I put up the other day, right? $300 for it all. Probably about 2/3 of it was sealed, 1/3 was brand new open. However, what he did is he actually got the gaming piece. He got like a compartment, Stanley compartment carry case. I don't know what he's done there. He told me that what he likes doing, he likes setting up games for people. So he doesn't particularly play them. He gets them all ready, puts them in little compartments, puts them in little sleeves like you would with your Pokemon cards, or the card collectors or the card sellers on whatever platform they sell their cards on, and put them in this little thing to make it more pristine. So he sold them he bought them to fix them up, to have them all set up, to give to someone, or to sell to someone else. I don't know. I paid $300. Retail value, went back through, was probably about $1,200 to buy brand new, right? So no idea what this guy's going on about. Long story short, the ones that were open were all mixed into that carry case. So all the cards and all these different things, all the big models. So these models are massive, right? So they're unpainted. They're decent sized models of the monsters that are on the covers or different things. So all the monsters and all the demons and all the playable characters have been still factory sealed in their plastic. They haven't been painted. They're still disconnected in the sense that little tails are still in the plastic. He just wanted to break the cards up and put them in that way. And I'm like, oh, because the problem and the fact of the matter is that each monster on average has about 6 or 7 cards that directly relate to that monster, which is easy to see, right? Because if you've got a picture of a dragon on the box, you look for that picture of the dragon on the card and you go, all right, that's that card. So you can kind of work your way through that. Where it becomes infinitely more difficult is that each of these expansions have loot cards. So basically what happens if you beat the monster, you might get a new sword, or you might get a new shield, or you might get something else, right? And I can't find anywhere that tells me explicitly what cards there is. So, you know, one of these expansion sets might have 3 cards, another set might have 15 cards, or 20 cards, or 30 cards. So, as you can see, I've still got my hair. So what I've done is I've actually listed them as one lot. I've listed them for $450 plus $50 postage, and I'm just going to send them off like that. They're 100% complete. They're just, he set it up in those little containers just to get rid of it. I'm not going to sort through it and spend, you know, like projects and all this different things. Grumpy Granny's been mad at me before about doing projects. That's why I don't buy used Lego, because you have to rebuild it, take photos, and go from that way. It's a waste of time. So like I did with this thing, I could have spent an hour, no, a weekend going through websites, looking for Reddit posts, asking people on Reddit to see which cards come with, you know, the gaping dragon, for example. But like I said, on the flip side is I paid $300 for the lot. So might as well just bundle it up, put it for $450, get rid of it from that way. So going back to this set. So this is the old Iron King expansion. You probably have heard me speak about Kickstarter exclusive before. So what Kickstarter is actually, so someone with an idea says, hey look, yeah, I really love Dark Souls, the video game. I'm going to make a tabletop game, but I don't have the money to make it. So what they will do is they'll basically go to this website called Kickstarter, if you're not aware, kind of like GoFundMe, but for a tangible product. So people would go, all right, I'm happy to pledge $100, $200, $300. They'd have different tiers of what you get for different price points, or you could just give them a donation. And once it gets its funding goal, theoretically, a couple of years later, or maybe a year later, depending on how long the production run is, you'll get your Lego sets. Generally, as a sweetener for the higher tiers, maybe just say the base game, for example, which is, oh, it's hiding behind one of these, might have been $100 American or $200 Australian, for example. But if you pledged $400, you would get all the expansions as well. And there is a shit ton of expansions, I can tell you that. But, you know, generally speaking, 9 out of 10, if a game's successful, and 9 out of 10 components of that game, so the core game plus the expansions, will become retail. So you can go down to GameStop, or you can go to your local, you know, board game place. I'm not really au fait with it yet. And say, hey, look, you know, I'll pick up these. However, you cannot get the Kickstarter exclusives. You need to buy them from Kickstarter. Once these are sold out, or once they've been gone from Kickstarter, they do not exist anymore. So that is the only point of time you can get them. So there was one I came across, and I can't work out which one it is. Oh, no, hang on, it's this one. So the reason why I picked up this lot on Facebook Marketplace is because I've seen this one, right? It's called the Guardian Dragon expansion. And I knew that from a fact that it wasn't an expansion set, sorry, a Kickstarter exclusive, from previous research I've done before, and I have told you how I do it. Then I was like, fantastic, this set goes up for $250 to $300, brand new and sealed. It's brand new and sealed, fantastic. Threw it on, I've seen it in the bundle, and I was like, holy crap, yeah, this one set can pay for the whole lot, everything else is pure profit. It's going into the Japan account, so hopefully it sells quick. So long story short, I've seen this, I was like, fantastic, I'll get this, and maybe after fees and postage, all the rest is going to cost me $100, which is a no-brainer with the amount of amount of board game sets in the thing. And I was like, you know, comping them at work from what I could work out. Then I came home, and then I did some research on Reddit, and then I just typed in, you know, the Guardian Dragon or something like that. It popped up and said, you know, out of the 3 Kickstarter exclusives, which ones do you think is the most sought after? And I was like, 3? Holy crap, I thought there was only 1. So long story short, this is the most sought after one. So this one's listed for $400. That's brand new and sealed. And this one as well, the 4 Kings expansion. So these expansions are more set after like a post-game thing. So once you've mastered the game of Dark Souls on the board game, you know, you want a little bit more challenge. These are called mega bosses in the sense that they're probably brutal, in the sense that they look at you and you die. So that's what they're sought after. So I have 3 of the 3 Kickstarter exclusives. And like I said, for the top 2, so the 4 Kings and that, the old guy, I've listed those for $400 each, and the Guardian, I think it was $300 or $350, I can't remember, and probably around the other price points, anywhere between $70 to $100 for a set. So it is eventually going to bring in a bit of cash. It's not going to move quickly because, like I was saying before, is that the board game convention happened last week. This is why I've been able to pick up all the board games quite quickly and quite cheaply over the last couple of weeks. If you have been watching the videos, you probably go, holy crap, this guy's getting board games left, right and center. It's because there was a board game convention in town. So if you are looking at a certain niche, what I would strongly suggest, and if you haven't already, please subscribe because I'm going to give you something right now. Have a look at your calendar and see if there's anything running locally. Is there a horror convention? Is there a Funko convention? Is there a Disney collector pin convention? I don't know if they exist. Have a look at your calendar, have a look at what's going around, and you will find that people that gravitate towards those communities will be looking at excess, looking at selling things off to get some money to buy the stuff that they want to go from these conventions. So all these guys, like I picked up some Dark Souls in the last couple of weeks, probably about 3 or 4 lots. You probably have seen them in the past. Bloodborne, which is also from Software as well. Primarily because they were all telling me they were going to this board game convention. Are you going? What day are you going? And I'm sitting there smiling. I was like, I've never heard of this convention before. Not that it matters. Here's your money. Let me get back in my car and go home and list it and pretend that, I'm one of you. Nothing wrong with people that play board games. And like I say with Skylanders, right? It's each their own. Everyone gets excited over different things. I don't particularly care. I get excited about making money. If they get the money that they want, I get what I want. Everyone's happy. So, like I was saying, is that these are pretty much brand new. I am picking up a massive Skylander lot in Sydney next weekend, so I'm going to drop these off at my parents' house, which is 3 hours past Sydney. So I'll pick up the Skylanders on the way through, go to Sydney, go to my parents' house on them after picking that up, drop all these board games off, put them back in the storage shed, which they take care of them for me, and then either come back that night or Sunday morning, depending on what we go from that way. But what I'd want to do quite quickly on the outro, I'm learning all these technicality words. I went to eBay Games. I had to pick up some glasses, like drinking glasses. They had them on special for $9 down from $30. The kids love Pokemon. They've got Pokemon, really hard set Pokemon glasses in the cupboard. So we bought them Santa bought them for Christmas for them. So they want some more. So they're constantly fighting over Jigglypuff. I'm fending these kids off because they want to steal my Jigglypuff cup. So long story short, they're $30 from Santa. However, they're in the process of clearing them out for $9. I went back and get some more. So there's 2 Jigglypuff cups now. So when I always go to eBay Games, I look at the used game section. There's a couple of games you want to be looking out for. If you have made it to the 30 minutes and 30-minute part, I'm falling over. I put my thongs off. For those that in America that don't know, it's flip-flops, so I'm not wearing a G-string. I'm tripping over my thongs, so that's probably why I'm swaying all over the place. I normally go to my game section, the Switch games primarily, and have a look for a couple of games. Have a look for Mario 3D All-Stars, which is obviously Mario Galaxy, Mario Sunshine, and another one. I'm not too sure it was Mario Galaxy 2. Or Mario 64, what it is, I think. Anyway, we'll play that. Have a look for that, and also look for Skylanders Imaginators, right? So if you can probably see there, I paid $28 for it. This is about a $250 game. It's got all the different things. You don't need to have the portal for this one. So if you've got a Switch, and a lot of probably people you do, or as I was speaking to Chris, Heroes World a little bit earlier, with his Switch games, and I will put a link to his short that he picked up this massive, phenomenal lot. I don't know how long ago, because he did mention to me it was quite a while ago, but you really, really, really need to see the short that Chris sent me, so I will put it in the description field. So like I was saying, is I always look for these games. With Skylanders Imaginators on the Switch, you do not need a portal. You basically use the right Joy-Con, so if you've got your controllers on the right Joy-Con, jeez, learning all these different accents. On the right Joy-Con, it's got an Amiibo reader, and what we'll do is it'll actually read the Amiibos through this. So it'll also read Skylanders as well. So once you scan it into the game, it saves that data for that character into the game, and you're good to go. So what I'm going to do with this one, it was $28. I did see someone selling it on eBay for $225, and it goes to $300. I sent that guy an offer for $180. We ended up settling it at $195. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of research on this, and what I was saying to Chris as well, keep an eye out if you're in America, because this thing goes up to $400 Australian. So it goes for insane amounts of money, right? What I'm going to do is probably Google it, make sure it's region free, which I'm 99.9% Switch games are. Then I'll advertise it as region free and advertise it to the American market as well. So if I can sell it for $300, yeah, like I said, get international, go for that way, in the UK and all these different things. What I probably will do, I don't have any of them here, but for example, I do have infinite amounts, almost a limitless amount of the base characters that go with this. So I'll bundle it up with the 2 characters that go with the game, plus the crystal, and probably add an extra $100 onto it. So theoretically, if they're selling for $300, well, now the lowest is $300 without the figures. I'll probably make it $350 with the figures or something like that. These figures are probably $2 each by themselves, and I want to move them on. Or I might make it a little bit higher and use Ava to test them on this game. So when she tests the characters, we normally have to kick my wife or the kids off the TV because we use the Xbox Series X. In previous photos, you would have seen that she was using my desk, my lava lamp sitting there now, so I can't use the Xbox there. It gets too hot. However, if I give her a copy of this, she can put it in a little switch light. She can go for gold and just go through the characters from that way. So definitely silver linings. So in a roundabout weird way of thinking about it, what I'm doing is I'm proportioning the average cost of goods. This one being $28, not from a tax perspective, but you know, to make myself feel a little bit better for forking out $200 for the other copy, is I'm going to say, hey, I've got 2 copies for $230, and I'll just, what's that work out to be? $160 each, then sell them for $300, whatever it is. But like I say, it's probably not a wise tactic, but this game's sell-through should be quite quick, especially if you international market it. Like I said, the ones that are currently on eBay, I don't think they have it from international sales. But likewise is that people will see that little green classification for Australians down here, and they'll think, hang on, that's not the US version, it's not going to work on my console. So we'll use keywords like region-free, plays anywhere, stuff along the lines of that in the title, just to give those people a say, hey, look, I can get the exact same game from Australia for $70 or $80 cheaper than what's currently going in the States. But each to your own. But like I say, let me know. I've been quite curious if you have got this far. Let me know in the comment section, what was the first thing that you ever sold on eBay? Or if you remember what the first thing you sourced or you collected or you did anything to, obviously start your reselling journey off. But I'm losing my voice. I need another drink. And I'll catch you next time. See yous.